she wasn't ready. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. We are back. We are back with another Bless the Author. It seemed like forever. It seemed like forever. Where my people's at? Where are my peoples? It seemed like forever that I have not seen you guys. I'm trying to put my phone on silent. Y'all already know how I roll. And I gotta make sure that the rest of the family can chime in. So we have to click that share button. We have to click that share button. So we're going to share to Bless the Author. And we're also going to share to Queens with Ambition. And we also are going to give you all time to come in so we can have this session of Bless the Author. Listen, I changed the day. I changed the day. And so that's why it seems like forever. That's why it seems like I haven't been here. I don't know why it's not letting me share in the author, but listen, y'all, we are in for a treat on tonight, and I pray that all my single sisters and brothers chime in on tonight because we are going to have a conversation. Hey, ma'am, how are you doing? Happy Friday to you. Listen, we have the beautiful author Miracle Sims, and we are going to talk about being single as a Christian. And I want to bring her in today. You all welcome her, you all show her love as we bring her on to talk about being single as a Christian. Hi, how are you doing?
Hey, Miss
So we're going to
Amelia,
jump
I'm
right
good.
in.
Good. How are you?
I am great. We're going to jump right in here and we are going to ask you to tell us a little bit about Miracle Film.
Well, Miracle Sims. Well, that's me. I'm better known as Miracle Sims. Well, just let's get to the nitty gritty. I mean, I'm a time girl with big dreams. That's what I always start off with. I'm from this town called Jackson, Butts County, Georgia. Many may not know it. That's where I was born and raised and everything like that. And but I mean, as long as I was there and everything like that, I mean, I had a good rearing and whatnot, but I always knew that I was going to be leaving, right, and do do more. I had these big dreams of, I guess, being an actress and all these things, entrepreneur and all these things. And I mean, I did become all those things. So to God be the glory.
Amen. Amen.
But yeah, that was the start. That's kind of like where I'm at. I know I did a big leap, but yeah, that's just, I mean, the beginning stages of who I am, actress, author, entrepreneur. And I guess a little, so much more. I know people talk about me and all my hats all the time. So, I mean.
Mhm. So before we dive into the book, let's talk about Miracle, the what is it, a podcast, talk show? What is
Yes, you're referring to God, sex, and love. Well,
it?
um, funny thing is, it in my mind it was a talk show. That's what the Lord gave me, a talk show. But once
Mhm.
He had me kick things off in 2020, basically it became a podcast. It became one talk show of many, and so much more. At this point, I'm like, is it a network, Lord? What is it? But yeah, as of right now, right, the most frequent things is I have daily inspiration that I do called The Juice. And then I have a weekly talk show that comes out on Fridays called the GSL Talk Show. And yes, the overall theme of the channel is God, sex, and love, but don't be scared, Christians. Come on, don't be scared. At the end of the day, I just really wanted to create a space to be, a safe space for Christians to talk about everything, including God, sex, and love. So I mean, if those that get into my book, you may understand where it all came from and how those themes fit all with me. But yeah, that's a little bit about the network.
The network. Look, I see me going into the network because God's giving me another program. I always start off calling it a program, but I don't know if it's going to be a talk show. I don't know if it's going to be a podcast, but it's called When Sisters Gather, and we're going to be discussing things, talking about things we normally that we don't normalize, but we should with health,
Mm-hmm.
with relationships. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you want we going there? Oh, okay, then let's go. Then let's go.
We need
So
it, man.
I
The Christian community
understand.
needs it. So I
Yes,
can
we
go
do.
on and on about that. So
Lit- Okay, look, we shy away from those things, but that's I look at it as that's somewhat of what's the problem. Somewhat of what's the problem why we as single Christians don't know how to be focused and don't know how to handle ourselves in our single season because of these
mm-hmm.
things are not being normalized within the
Amen.
Christian community. You know,
Yes.
so
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
gonna dive in. We're gonna dive in.
Yeah.
So let's let's dive into this book. How did you come up with the name of this?
Oh, well, for a long time, this wasn't the name of it. It started off as something else, and it started off as it was supposed to be like a two-part. It was inspired by a friend of mine and myself, basically in my single life. And she was married, I was single, and we was looking at each other's lives. I guess you would say with envy
Uh-huh.
and things like that. And we kind of talked about, her writing from a married perspective, me writing from a single perspective, and just kind of putting the books together for people to
Mhm.
look at both sides. Um, the crazy
Mhm.
thing is, I wrote my part and she never wrote her part. So
Yeah.
I don't know. But anywho, but I mean, she's still a great friend and everything. Nothing. It just she never wrote
Yeah,
her
of
part. I guess
course.
I was just supposed to write my part. But
Yeah.
over the years, I wrote this in my 20s, right? And I'm 35 now. Well, how old am I now? 36 now. Be 37 this year.
Uh-oh.
How old am I? I don't even know how
Uh-oh.
old I am anymore. Oh Lord, I'm in my
Uh-oh.
30s now. Okay. And
Absolutely.
and so between my 20s and my 30s, I was trying to figure out, how to publish. And by the grace of God, I learned how to self-publish in 2021. And basically the Lord told me, I guess, that this was more than what the original concept was. I don't want to put the original name out there because I did end
Mhm.
up writing a script based on
Okay.
that scenario I just told you.
Original.
So, be on the
Okay.
lookout. Hey, hopefully when the Lord,
All right now.
when that time comes, movie's coming. Um, but anyway, the thing is, I wanted to still, it has like a gardening theme. I'll just put that much out there. And I wanted to keep a
Uh-huh.
gardening theme. And so as I was praying about that, I wanted it to kind of still coincide because it was based on that original concept. But at the same time, I didn't want to use the original name. So basically, at praying about it and seeking, more information about like gardening and things like that. Um, I came across this concept of the cultivation period, which when you look it up, it means like the growing season. And I was like, that's literally what it was. Because by the time when I finished my part, I realized that I had pretty much written my memoir in a lot of ways. Like, and definitely I kind of delved into like my dating life and how I was dealing with being a single woman and things like that. Things I was learning at that time to prepare for where I'm at now in regards to marriage and stuff like that. And so I was like, that really was a growing period. I mean, yes, I call it the cultivation period. I mean, I realize now that there's multiple cultivation periods in life, but
Of course.
I mean, it did, say, as you can see, the tagline
As a
does
school.
say that it's the
Right, right.
Christian's journey. So I could
Yeah.
put part two or something like that, the married Christian journey or whatever, which I
Right.
wasn't planning on doing. Lord, are you trying to tell me something? Oh Lord. Anyway,
Well, yeah, we just gonna ask that.
but that's where it kind of came from. Just kind of wanted to stick with the gardening theme and really doing some research about like I wanted. Lord, do you want me to say the name? Goodness gracious, it's keep being on the tip of my tongue to say, but dealing with grass or whatever the case is. And so I was looking up things about that and then came across the cultivation period and I was like, that's what it was. So that's why I ended up calling it that. I know. Sorry, I took so long to answer that question, but
No, 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 no. You take your time as long as it takes, honey. We are here for it. I tell you, we are here for it.
yes, that's what the
I
name
love,
is.
Yes, I love to have my sisters on. I need to um I need to include my brothers, but right now me and my sisters are rolling on this Mr. Arthur. What led you to be so eager to get married?
Whew. Uh okay, so I don't want to just say sex because I'm sure it wasn't just sex. But I mean that was high on the list, being like, Lord, okay, so I know what your words say. I know how I was raised, all these different things. I'm like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be waiting. I did a pretty good job of waiting. I got well into my 20s before I actually, just crossed the line. I was like, I guess out of frustration, to be honest, that's saying everything. Uh, but
Uh-oh.
I mean, how honest do we want to be on here? This
No,
ain't GSM.
hey, we raw. No, we raw on here. It's okay. It's okay. All
I
is
mean,
well.
I don't want to say sex. I mean, I want to say that, like, I mean, I guess I was always enamored with this idea of love and being in a relationship and things like that. I mean, even from grade school, like I would be that girl with the YM magazine, and the horoscopes always told me I was going to have a boyfriend, and then every year I did. And that's why I stopped leaving paying attention to horoscopes, and then obviously grew up to learn that you shouldn't be paying attention to that stuff. Anyway, but I mean,
Yeah.
before then, right, when you're young, you just read stuff and be like, oh, I'm going to have a boyfriend this year. And then it's like,
Yeah.
you don't. And they're like, this ain't
That's
real. Uh,
that's it. Yes.
so I mean, I guess I've always like desired. To be honest, I feel like I always desired my husband, not knowing who he was or any of that type of stuff. I always desired that relationship.
Right.
So I don't know what was the first trigger. I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, when I think about it, I know that my mom, like it was me and my mom for a long time because my dad actually passed before I was born. So, and they were only married like a year. And then they conceived me, and that year that I was born, he died in May, and I was in August. And so, and then yeah, I mean, people say he's a great man. I know people, don't talk too ill of the dead or anything, but I'm assuming that he was a great man. Obviously, he got with my mom and stuff. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that has something to do with it as well. I mean, obviously, I did grow up with my he's the only dad I know, so I call him dad, but it is technically my stepfather and stuff like that since the age of like
Mm-hmm.
5. And so, I did have a father figure in my life and things like that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if underlying if that has something to do with, not knowing who my real father was. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you really think about it, it's like, why? What could be the reasons why marriage was so important to me, or I wanted it so bad? I don't really know. Outside, I mean, the sex thing was one of the things. I think I just really desired that companionship, that loyalty, everything that marriage entails. So, yeah.
Understand. Understand. So, Valerie, as I kept reading, I realized that you was doing a lot, but wasn't doing a lot at the same time. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am. I totally do.
So what? I was like, wait a minute. She doing a lot of fondling, but she ain't going no further. What it was the men? Were all the men into the church and was trying to do the right thing? And explain that to me.
Mm.
Uh oh. Oh,
No, well, I was not say no. Like I don't know everybody's bad. Okay, so here's what. Where do I start? So, um, so
from
throughout my
what you
life, I
know.
mean, I'm sure you read the book. Yeah, I know. I mean, I know you read the book and everything like that. So throughout my life, I mean,
Right.
obviously, you know what the beginning stages was in regards to how I was introduced to sexual things.
Right.
For those that haven't read the book, I mean, I've talked about it, candidly or whatnot, because I feel like it's very important to talk about. But anyway,
Right.
long story short, y'all, some of my first introductions to sexual things like kissing, fondling, all that type of stuff was unfortunately from a babysitter that, was encouraging me to do those things with her. And, probably at the tender, I say at a tender age, it had to be between 3 and 4. And I only say that because I'm not necessarily sure how old I was, but I know that it was before my sister was born and we are 5
Right.
years apart. So it was 3, it had to be 3 or 4. But anyway, So that was like my introduction. So throughout my life, unfortunately, other little things happen, in regards to like kissing and all this different type of stuff. And um, so again, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot there, but when I really, I guess, really started to like, I would say get past kissing. That was probably like what, like high school or something like that. And I can't say that the guys weren't into church or something like that. I don't know, but maybe not. I don't know, because it's high school is, not say high school kids don't take God seriously, but that was never a conversation, if that makes any sense. So
Right.
some of my first like real experience of really being touched by a man and really being touched or about a guy my age, and things like that, again, we never really discussed their relationship with Christ. Things like that would either be happening at school or, stuff like that. So now when it comes to my adult life, I mean, I would say when regards to the dudes that were in the church that I quote unquote dealt with or were around, I don't think there was too much of fun, those interactions with those type of dudes. I mean, there was one, but he really tried, not to cross the line with me. And I just really pushed, because I just was so used to it. See, that's the thing. Bad habits, y'all. I was just so used to interacting with
Mm-hmm.
guys in that way, being like, we're friends, and then we're like, okay, now we're fooling around, and he wasn't trying to cross the line, so I just really, really was like, but you could be my one, and da 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 da. Just blind, right? And but God used him to show me, like to really give me a look in the mirror about things I needed to change to prepare for the things that I really, really wanted, which was marriage and everything like that. So that was like a crossroad moment dealing with him. Somebody that was a believer, somebody that I felt could have been the one, and all that different type of stuff. And I literally pushed him away because of my actions of not being Christ-like, I guess you would say, and everything like that. And so,
Right.
yeah. So I mean, I know you're like, girl, I hate
Well,
asking these questions for you.
no.
But it's just loaded
No,
because,
no,
like,
no.
when you talk about like the experiences,
Yeah,
it's like,
no. It's
yeah,
right. And when I was referring to the guys were in church, I was referring to once you got older. You know,
got
um,
you, got
yeah,
you.
I do remember in the book where you did talk about the babysitter, and then you kind of like stepped into that. That what kind of caused you to step into that when you were in college. Am I right?
Yeah, that was another moment. College was a crossroad moment for me.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
well you kind of stepped into that in college. But thanks be to the Lord, you shook that on off of there. You shook that on
amen.
off of there and kept
Yes,
it going.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
So,
ma'am. Girl, I can go
this
on,
next
so let me
question.
hush, ma'am.
Look, this next question gonna take us in there because I want to know and this is gonna go back to the question I asked you previously about where they into the church, because I just need to know, how did you do all that fondling and it did not go into sex?
Like I said in the book, man. On one hand, I'm like, I mean, I think obviously when you, I guess spiritual level, I guess it was just God keeping me right, and the dudes that I was dealing with, they never like went past what I was willing to go. So, and they seemed to be okay with just doing what we did. So that's a blessing, because I know that could be a totally different story. Because I mean, I'm a little lady; they could have did whatever. You know what I'm saying? So to God be
Right.
glory again for covering. Even when you don't know you need to be covered. um,
Amen.
but yeah, I mean, I think that's literally that. Honestly, that's probably what it was. Just God keeping me.
Mhm.
Um, but in regards to just physically and stuff like that, I mean, I think because I just never could be comfortable with the things like the fooling around and all that stuff. Like, even though, yeah, I did my thing and I still would try and all this different type of stuff. I'm gonna live my life. I'm single, try to do all that. And then, but you got that conviction in your heart. You got that. I guess the Holy Spirit being like, so you shouldn't be doing this or that. And I'd be like, well, where my husband at then?
Well, yeah, I'm
Where he
trying to throw it back
at?
at him and he ain't having it.
And so, and then he's like, well, you need to change your life for that. So, but
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Lord just kept your girl, man.
That's what's
That's what it was.
that's what's up. Because listen, I was reading, I was like, wait a minute, the dudes I mess with would have ripped every piece of clothing off. Like, wait a minute, you ain't gonna be teasing me. Like, come on, what you doing? So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. I guess they
God
were
be the
respectful in
glory.
that way. They were respectful to me in that way. So I'll give them that.
Right. Cause okay. Um, we gonna move on here. I had to. Oh
Look,
no.
is it
Okay.
hot? It's hot already.
Yeah. Yes, I got to go. I'm trying to fix my light. It done turned red. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
This ain't never happened before.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Okay, look, it's a quote, and I don't read the whole quote. It's how the person you got the quote from is how they worded it, and I just want you to iterate on what you got from the quote to put it in the book. The quote that you have a dog, you have a dog made of flesh inside of you, and a dog made of spirit fighting each other. What did that do? Explain that. Where you was coming from when you read that quote and put it in your book. You on mute. Oh, you
Well,
did it.
so yeah, I had to mute it real quick. I got a co-host, y'all. Apologize. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying? We in
gotcha, gotcha.
Studio B, and my little co-host out there singing. So if y'all hear, that's what that is. He's praising the Lord though, so to
Okay.
God be the glory. I'm
Hey,
telling
tell
my
them no.
business.
Tell them don't take us in there now. Don't usher us in because we'll go in there with them.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so that quote actually, that was actually a conversation. That wasn't necessarily, if I'm remembering correctly, that was a conversation between me and the individual, and basically he was just pretty much trying to encourage me to feed my spirit rather than feed my flesh. Basically, that analogy was just pretty much saying what you feed is what's going to win in your life. And, whether we're considering that to be a dog or whether we're considering that to be the spirit man, however you look at that, either way, um, yeah, like the basis of it, or what I really got from it was pretty much what it says at the end. Whatever you feed, that's what's going to grow in your life. So yeah, that's the
Yeah,
main
that and
thing.
that's very, very true. Yes. Okay. Let's talk about the time when you almost went too far. Where you almost went too far, and it could have been a whole upsetting moment for you. How and
Mhm.
just tell me how. How did you think that you were pregnant and it never even happened? You never even had sex with the man. How did you think you were pregnant?
Well, I mean, okay. So basically, my mind playing tricks on me, like they say. Like, um, again, with me not really. I mean, I learned about it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know about health class. I
Right.
understand. You know what it takes. Da da da. But I mean,
Right.
um, I hate this. This ain't. It's not my testimonies. I'll just say. Okay, I say it like this. Somebody told me once that a child was conceived just by the ejaculation. Put it like that. And so when I was late, my menstruation was late or whatever the case is, and me not knowing, how, I was like, well, did something happen? Like, I mean, I know we were both kind of, naked and we were close. So, like, did something, you know what I mean? Those were the thoughts that was going in my mind at that time. Again, as somebody who had never, you
Right.
know,
Right.
um, really engaged in the act or whatever. So I'm not saying I understand that, full blown penetration is how, but at the same time, I mean, I didn't know if if say for example, there was I mean, I don't know if this is too deep to say on here. I'm sorry if this
Go
may be
ahead.
wrong, like
Go ahead.
pre-cum or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Like I didn't know
Uh-huh.
if that could be a way, and again, I think because I was late, or I felt like I was my period came late around that time. Um I just was like, wait, is this what? And yeah, that's what was going through my mind at the time. So
Okay, so that's the part right there. So the pre cum was it? Did it go inside you or?
no, I mean, not that I know of. I mean, no, obviously, because the only child I
No,
have is with my
brother.
husband. Praise the Lord.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, at that time, right? Again, not knowing like if there was pre cum or not. You see what I'm saying? I just know that we were,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering correctly, just I guess grinding without clothes. And then next thing I know, a month or so later, my period's late. I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? And
Gotcha.
because I
Gotcha.
had heard what
Okay. Gotcha.
somebody else told me about ejaculation could be a way to get pregnant without penetration.
Right.
I just thought, like, could this be for me as well? What I heard from someone else,
Okay. 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 Because I
So
would say that pre cum can absolutely make it happen because that's how my daughter was conceived. So I am a
why
witness
you
of
asking me that then? Like you
listen because listen,
was like,
listen.
girl, why you saying?
Listen, I never see where you said, yeah, listen, I never see where you said like he stuck it in and you know what I'm saying, because it was in there, but you know what I'm saying, it was like,
Okay.
yeah,
But
we
see,
ain't
I
gonna
guess, like I said, I guess because I knew we were naked, I knew that we were close, so I didn't, even though it wasn't penetration, I just it again, your mind play tricks on you when you done did the wrong thing, and then you know, and signs right that are giving me the vibe that wait a minute, my period ain't came yet, it's late.
right,
So
right. I
yeah.
mean, okay, so now that we talk about it, now I understand now what you're saying. 'Cause I'm like, wait a minute, ain't no way we got to talk about this thing.
It's all good. Like I told you, I'm an open book. It's fine.
Oh
Like
yes, ma'am. And we here at Bless the Author, we love open books. So take us through the process when you said, okay, enough is enough. I got to get back on track.
Ooh. Well, like I mentioned, that guy was one of the things that kind of opened my eyes. And
Uh-huh.
then I say another turning point for me around that same time was again me really seeking the Lord and being like, because at that time I felt like I had a lot of what I wanted. But I just felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be in my career. And then I felt like I was nowhere near the relationship I wanted. And I'm over here asking the Lord, like, well, where's my husband at? When can this happen for me? Like, I'm looking at my friends, they married and dating and all this stuff. And I'm like, and I'm over here like, I'm trying to do what you say do, but I'm the only one out here not with somebody. Everybody else is with someone and they ain't even trying to do what you say do. And, I'm just being honest, about how I was feeling at that time. Like, there was kind of way about that. Like,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and then when it came to that guy, somebody that again that I thought, well, we met at church and all this different type of stuff. And he was like one of the first guys that I really was having spiritual conversations with. So I felt like at some point, I can't remember if this was before him or might have been before him. I had come to the conclusion like, I'm going to look for 4 things in a mate or a husband or whatever. Like, I want us to have a spiritual connection, physical connection, mental connection, and then also good communication, I think it was something like that. And I had it written down somewhere, but I knew it back then. Back then I had them 4 things like, yeah, I need all 4. I need all 4. And so he was like, and people that I say people there was at least maybe like 5 guys that I could have been the one before I actually met my husband. Because I feel like I had the majority of those things with those individuals. So when it came to that guy I was just telling you all about, I felt like, okay, we had the spiritual, I was attracted to him physically, we had good communication, and I felt like we were mentally compatible with the conversations and stuff that we would have. And so I'm like, all 4 things, great, But he just, in our conversations, he would just more so, I mean, well, you read about it in the book, and it was kind of like he was a mentor of some sorts, which was weird because we're the same age and all this different type of stuff. But he seemed to be more of a mentor, and I just was like, okay, but I know how this thing goes with guys. Like, you attracted to me, I'm attracted to you, da da da, and then we fool around, and then we do da. And then he always would deny, deny, deny. So like, I guess once I can't remember whatever I did to, I don't know, but to change his mind and like bump it a bit. Or I mean, we would kiss or whatever and things like that. But that was an eye-opening experience for me again, because I realized that, okay, if I really want a guy like him, right, that is God fearing, all these different things, I literally pushed him away with my actions. Like at some point he was like, we can't be friends no more because of this. You're affecting my walk and blah, blah, blah. And I just was like, but I thought we was gonna be in this together and all this stuff. And so that was one of the things that kind of made me look at myself differently. Like, Miracle, why are you like this? You know, like, why are you just automatically in this rotation of fooling around and all this stuff? So that was something. And then the other thing I want to say was that, like, at this time in church, you know, I'm there and the pastor says, if you make God's wants your wants, then you're going to get what you want. Mm-hmm. And that was the time when I was like, well, Lord, what is it that you want then? Because I thought, you know, I guess I had everything that I thought I wanted, you know, with the exception of a few things. So, but obviously I'm missing something here. So what is it that you want? And again, that's when that mirror got shined on me. Like, so I need you to change all this stuff. And so, yeah, those were the moments.
I understand those moments. Listen, how many times did you go back after saying enough was enough? Because, you know, I asked you that. Go ahead, answer, then I'm gonna tell you why I asked you that question.
Oh Lord, I don't even know, to be honest. Like, I mean, because again, yeah, I wasn't perfect. You know, I'm not, even after realizing these different things and writing all these different things and learning these different things along the way. You know, I still didn't necessarily stay on the path completely, you know. So, but I was trying, you know, I was actively trying, I was actively making changes. And I feel like God honored those moments that I was faithful, if I say it like that. Like, I feel like those times, especially when I was when I was single in Florida, going through all this stuff that I wrote about, like, I really, really was intentional at that time. You know, I had stopped masturbating, I had stopped like a lot of different things that I felt like was challenges for me to grow spiritually. So I mean, that's a whole conversation on its own, y'all. I'm not condemning masturbation. I'm just saying, for me at that time, I needed to take that challenge and take that break to understand that I can have self-control and things like that. Because again, I feel like I say this all the time, but let me explain, just in case anybody's out there like, oh, you mean? I say that because masturbation had become a way for me to go to sleep. You know, it had become a way for me. This was a regular situation where I felt like the Lord was like, okay, so I need you to actively work on that. And as I did, now I can sit here and tell people that, yeah, you can have self-control. I probably wouldn't be able to tell that testimony if I didn't go through that. So I hope that makes sense to people. And now, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I had to do that at that particular time. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, sister, but I just know that, like, yeah, it was, I mean, there was lots of ups and downs and falling and getting back up. Like, what, 70 times 7? Hey.
What? Okay.
Hey, 70 times 7.
Yes. Oh, woo, okay. I ain't gonna start preaching to y'all, but listen, I asked you that question because of that simple fact. We are human and we do fall and we do stumble, you know. And I just want the single sisters and brothers that are going to watch and that are on to know that it's okay. You know, you can get back up. You can keep going. You know, don't stay in that moment. You know, take this from someone who was there and look at where they are now. They are where you want to be. So they got up and they kept trying. Get up and keep trying, and you'll get to where you want to be. You know, because sometimes, you know, the enemy, and it don't even always be the enemy. Sometimes it be us, too wrapped up in our own thoughts, thinking that, okay, well, God done with me. You know, you don't want to hear nothing from me no more. I done said I was gonna do this, and I ain't doing it. Now I'm a liar. Oh, it's me. And you know, I have been there. So That was the reason why I asked you that question, just to let them know that, hey, I did say enough was enough, but in that moment of me saying enough was enough, I went on and did what I had to do, but I still fell short again. I still
Yes,
fell
ma'am.
short again. Yeah.
I mean,
So
and thank you for saying that, but that is very important because again, I
yeah.
feel like there's a narrative that's out there that if we come to Christ, everything will be great, and and it is great, it is. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, like I said, we are humans, and none of us are perfect. All of us are falling short, and so at the end of the day, um, I feel like there's grace for us when it comes to being convicted. Like if you have any conviction in your heart about the sins, that whatever the sin is, if you have conviction in your heart, then that's something like that speaks volume
Mm-hmm.
about you and your character and everything like that. Because there's not to
Yeah.
say people, but there are people that can just sin and don't care nothing about it. So the fact that you even
That's right.
care speak see means to me that you are actually hearing God, and and everything like that. And so yeah, don't be discouraged and understand that you can shake it off and try again. God honors that. Because at the end of the day, it's a totally complete different situation to be like, I'm a sin, and I'm gonna stay here and this is me and all that. Like that's a completely different situation from somebody actively trying their best. They might fail, they might stumble, they might fall, but then they get back up and get back on the path that God has put them on. So two completely different scenarios in my humble opinion. So don't act like you're one of those people and be like, if you're not,
Exactly.
for example, saying I'm going to live in this, and I'm not going to listen to God, then there's grace for you, in my humble opinion.
Yes. And we gonna pray for you. In my humble opinion.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Pray your strength
Yes,
in the Lord.
Lord. All the way. Yes. So once you totally got it together, still, you know, well, first before I say this, we're gonna back up. I saw that
Mhm,
you started into the masturbation. Let's not wait
mhm,
to that through that period of masturbation. But some people say, oh, it's a sin. Some people say, oh, it's not a sin. It's however you look at it. I feel like anything
mhm,
that gives you a conviction is a sin.
mhm,
You
mhm.
understand what I'm saying? If God
Yeah.
convicts you from doing it, I feel as though it's a sin. Because
Mhm,
if it's not, why is He convicting me from doing it?
mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? So if it's
Yes, ma'am.
okay, yeah. So if it's okay for me to do what I'm doing, I'm not messing with a man. I'm not messing with a woman. I'm just pleasing myself, so I won't go out. But if God
Mhm,
is pricking at me and pricking at my heart, oh, that's a sin. That's not pleasing to Him. So,
mhm,
like you said, hey, always be to whatever you feel, however you think about it, or whatever happens to your heart. That's between you and God. But over here, I feel as though it's a sin. So because when I went through that period, like I was like, okay, I'm not going. And my thing was like not meeting men and messing with them. It was something about both of my kids' fathers. Like when they came around, when they wasn't around, I was good. When they came around, it was like, oh man, I forgot all about what I was doing. I forgot all about what I had going on. Like I gotta stay away from them.
mhm,
So you know,
mhm,
so I'm glad that you brought that part up, about God telling you you need to deal with this, you
mhm,
know, to further let me know why what I knew because of how he made me feel in the midst of it. But that further confirmation that he is not pleased with us going that route. Yeah.
mhm.
So we're gonna go on. We're gonna yeah, so we gonna go on because we've been got into a whole nother conversation. So once you did, pull your tie tight and scrap up your stilettos. What did you do different? What did you do different when you finally met your husband?
So I'm gonna be honest, y'all. Like, so, unfortunately, sometimes it looked like it was a different situation, to be honest, because tell y'all what happened after this, right? And so there's a lot of things that happened between when I wrote this, when God gave me these revelations, when I was really going through actively in my single journey. And then basically there was a big transition where I moved from Florida back home to Georgia. And then I ended up meeting this guy. It was a whole thing. There's a lot of stuff, that different things that happened. And I guess I really, really was. The funny thing is, falling off the path at that same time, still on God's path, which is so crazy. Because again, I never would have met my husband if I hadn't did that. Like, I don't know how else we would have met if things didn't go the way they did. But at the same time, it wasn't squeaky clean. Like, it wasn't like what I thought it was going to be when we met and all these different type of things. So I think by the time, I feel like it was a divine way that we met, because long story short, there was a lot of things that happened. Like I just said, basically, I was dealing with this guy, shacking up, all these different types of stuff. I don't like, oh, what? All that after this book, all this stuff happened. Shacking up with this guy and all this stuff. I found myself in that type of situation. And then long story short, like, was with him maybe like a year or so, thinking like maybe he could be, because he had the four things kind of. I think I was just giving more grace in some areas than others, but for the most part, I feel like he had the four things. It's the last guy before my husband. But that was like that ended up being a mentally and verbally abusive situation. Like, to be honest, I don't even know where I would be if we had to stay together. Like, I think about that every now and then as well. I'm like, if the Lord didn't push me away and show me that y'all basically, there was, I don't know if you can imagine this, if you see me acting, maybe, but like in my real life, I'm not necessarily like an arguer or anything like that. And this guy and only like one other guy in my past, I had to like argue with it, like, can you imagine me yelling and arguing and stuff? And that was that type of relationship, because it seemed like he either wouldn't respect or hear me unless I yelled or whatever. And it just was weird. Like, it was a weird relationship dynamic, but at the same time, he was the guy that I was with the longest in regards to adult dating and stuff. But at the same time, even with us being together so long, I feel like he didn't really know me, and probably even vice versa, in some ways, even though I tried to be there and tried to get to know him and tried to, love him from him and all the things he had been through and stuff. He just, I don't know, like I don't know, maybe it just was really one of those tricks from the enemy to try to get me off track, and then ended up still being on track because it's the Lord's doing. But anywho, again, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that happened with that. But basically, by the time we finally parted ways, like kind of soon after is when I met my husband. And the crazy thing is, people would always tell me back when I was in Florida writing this and all this stuff, oh, when you stop looking, that's when it'll happen for you. Da, 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 da. But the problem was, I was always looking. And so for a split second, after me and the other guy had parted ways, I had told the Lord, I said, I'll just try love again next year. I just want to get back to where I was in Florida. I want to get back to the cultivation period. I want to get back to me and you, like, and spending more time with you, Lord, and all these different things that I'm telling the Lord that I wanted to do. And I was like, even if I want to get my own place again, and and all these different types of stuff. And then lo and behold, this is when he sends me my husband. And so when we met, it was one of those things where I think if I think about a thing that I did different when I met my husband, I think really, really was like listening to God and listening to his leadership in regards to the moves I was making. Because, and I say that because it is, on one hand, to some people, it might sound like a rebound situation. Oh, you met this guy after that guy. But there's a lot of things, the factors that tells me it wasn't a rebound, just because me and the other guy was done months before we separated. It's just I tried to hold on to the situation to see if it was going to change for months, but I knew it was done months before we were ended. So that was one thing. Two, old miracle, right? Or a miracle that was wanted to stay in my low old one with me, whatever the case is, probably would have missed my husband if I wasn't listening to God. And I say that because of when I met him. Because, see, basically meeting him right after the other guy, I like, nah, I just got out of something. I'm gonna ignore you. I'm gonna, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But when I met my husband, what had came to me was, so are you going to mourn something that you knew was done months ago, or are you going to see what's in front of you? And I just was like, well, you right. I was like, I
Yeah.
guess she ain't raised no fool. My mom ain't raised no fool out here. So I mean, I guess I said I was gonna give a love try next year, but you done here's this guy and let's see. And then he ended up being him. And I'm like, wow, you really did that. Like you really was listening to me. And that's the thing too. I think by the time we did meet and we got together and all this different type of stuff, it just like intensified my faith times 10. It really like all the things that I had been through, all these different stuff, even the stuff prior to him. It just kind of was like I feel like I'm leaving out so many stories that I feel like y'all need. So I need to write another book? Because there's just so many different little factors that I feel like plays the part in me and my husband meeting and all the different type of stuff. But so I don't know, sis. I don't know if you need to just bring me back just to talk about when we met, but
Look, you're
there's a
not
lot of
over here saying maybe we need to have a session of when it all started.
yeah, because I mean there are it's so many different factors on like how we met and when like just when it was and then the fact that everything just really meshed together so well where it was like wow and then by the time I really started to realize like he's really the one like he's really what like he's really everything that I had prayed for and all these different stuff. I'm like, Lord, you really was listening to me. Like you and I think because honestly the relationship, like I said, it anticipated my faith times 10, and it made me start trusting God with just everything. And that's why y'all see me today, like with the talk show and all these different type of stuff. Cause I'm just like, fine, Lord. Cause see, back in the day, and when I was going through all of this, I would be like, I trust you, Lord, but I'm still trying to take the pen and write. I trust you, Lord, but let me get the wheel real quick and go do something. Let me try this over here. Let me try this over there. And I think again when I met him, my husband, I just was like, and then seeing how well everything came together and seeing the divine way that it was, I just was like, wow, like you really did that. What you gonna do with my career then? What you gonna do with my finances then? I'm gonna stop. I'm
Come
gonna stop.
on.
I'm gonna stop even trying to. I mean, yeah, I still got goals, I still got dreams, I still got stuff I want to do and stuff. But now I'm at the point where I'm just like, when I see shifts happening now, I'd be like, well, what we finna do? What we doing? You didn't want me to do that, so what we doing? And
Yes.
that is change for me. That is huge change because Miracle used to be like, well, okay, well, Lord, I want you to help me, but let me go do this or let me go do that, or I was trying
And
to
then
do all these
work.
things. So that was the difference. I feel like it was like really listening to God, really being like, okay, I see what you did here, trusting him even more with everything. And look, another crossroad moment that was I feel like life-changing best decision. Like honestly, he's so supportive. And then we both humans, okay? So obviously,
Of course.
but at the same time, like I feel like he's perfect for me. Like I don't even know where I would be if it wasn't him. Like I don't think there'll be no show, none of this stuff that I got going on right now. Like, and I think about it, even my son is confirmation as well, because I just was like, I know you mentioned that situation in college and stuff. I think about that a lot. Looking at my son, I'm like, wow, a couple of different choices in life, like none of this would be happening. So to God be the glory, man. Look. How much of this story y'all want? Y'all want the whole thing?
Listen, you see we ain't saying nothing. We on mute over here. We on mute.
Oh Lord. Ooh, I mean, well, you can whatever you want to. Hey, I'll elaborate if you want me to. If you got a question about something in particular.
Okay, no. You gonna have your space where I'm gonna move myself and let you have the flow. So if it start coming out, like you let us have it.
Okay, all right.
Yes. So can you see the comments? You
I
can see the
saw a
ghost.
few of them. Yeah, I did see a few of them.
Yeah,
I
just
hear
you
there's
know.
another miracle out there, so hey.
I always want to make sure you can
Oh, oh,
see, you know, so you can
yes.
yeah, so you can see who's on here, so you can pick. I think we have, if they still, I think we have two married people and one single. So look like we only
Oh,
got one single lady in the house. So just throwing that out
oh,
there,
single lady. Okay.
because we
Hold
single
on,
folks
single lady.
need to go. Look, okay, we
Y'all
hold
hold
this
on.
because I'm still single in this thing. But listen, like just listening to you really was like confirmation because of course we have our wants, you know, and our mates, but we know that God knows what we need. So I was like, well, God, you
Yes.
handle the needs. And can I just throw my wants in how he kind of look? Like, you know what I'm saying? So you want to be attracted to him, and you don't want to have to force yourself until you realize that this is the person for you. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I ain't no picky girl, but she likes what she likes.
Yeah, I have to be attracted. Like that's why it was one of the four. Because I mean, what did I tell? I don't know. Did I write this somewhere? Or did I tell this to somebody? But basically, I say like, you try to have the two or three, or you have the one. Oh, well, maybe not the attractive, but you have the other qualities. Then you like, wait, I gotta look at this person.
Right. Listen, he don't have to be attractive to nobody else, but as long as he's attractive
Right.
to me, you know, I'm
Exactly.
good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care what
Yeah.
you think. I don't want you
Right.
to think anyways. I want you to stay where you at. So let him be attracted to
As
me.
long as I'm attracted to him, Lord. Yes.
So right, and let me be attracted to him, and that's all we need. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that just, you know, because I have had people tell me, you know, my husband's on the way, you know, and he's not going to be what I think he's going to be, you know. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm cool because I know God knows what I need. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have submitted my prayers on what I want. So if God can put it in a nice little bundle and say, you know, here you go, daughter.
Listen,
Oh, yes.
I did the whole list thing. I had front and back on the front and back of the page. All these little details and stuff. I was kind of open with in regards to looks or whatever. I just kind of was like taller than me. Obviously, I want to be attracted to person, things like that. But you know, I was more so about like how he would treat me, how he would talk to me, like how our family dynamic would be and things like that. And there's some things I guess it's cause the different things that we're dealing with in marriage, like listen, let me warn the future people out here. For y'all that don't know, the tug of war that we feel from the families throughout every holiday. That's something that I've obviously missed off of my list. I didn't realize
Listen,
how deep that was gonna be. I'm like, oh, you know.
listen, I
But
did, and I didn't miss that part because I know my family. My family is something else. So I was like, Lord, let them be able to deal with them because they are a handful.
I didn't really,
It's
it was
not that
not a
many
bad
of them.
tug of war. It's
Yeah.
just that at some point we were trying to go to everybody's house on holidays, and then we like, look, okay, we're gonna just split the holidays up. We'll do Christmas with this family, Thanksgiving with this family, and then I'm still over here like, I like being a hostess. I host something every now and then. Golly, like why we always,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And
Gotta
so
go off. Yeah.
yeah, that's a whole other thing. Married life, y'all, married life.
Listen, I'm just
Um,
sitting back. I'm at the point where I'm patient right now.
yeah,
After going through everything I went through, I'm like, okay, you know what? The last ordeal, I was like, okay, you know what? I ain't putting my hand in this no more. You
wait
got it.
on the
Yeah, you got it.
yes, wait on the Lord. My husband is definitely different from what I thought in some ways. Like, for example, I was going for like the flashy type of guy that made himself stand out and all this type of stuff. My husband, he stands out, but not because he makes himself stand out. Like
Mhm.
he's laid back, he's like a homebody type of dude, like, you know, he's into computers and all this different type of stuff. And we have these interesting conversations. Like I'll go here and talk to him about like art and creative and that. He'll come talk to me about programming and all this stuff. But so he was different in that aspect. And but again, like when I met him, I saw a clear difference between what I wanted versus what I needed. And I just was like, Lord, you did that. Thank you. I see now, I understand now, and I appreciate it every day. Every day. And yes.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, we definitely we needed this. We needed this bless the author to hear from a single standpoint. You know, you made it through this jungle. It's out here, jungle out here, and you made it through the jungle, sister. So what's next? For the author miracle film.
Well, I mean, I have several children book ideas that I need to get published. Now that I'm sitting here talking to y'all, it seems like I need to work on some married content. I mean, I wasn't planning on it. I put a little epilogue at the end of the book because I was like to tell everybody like, hey, it really happened. All the stuff I was praying for, all the stuff I talked about.
I read that. Yeah.
So yeah, I had to add that part in there since I, ended up publishing it in this season where it happened. I just was like, this is crazy that it happened this way for me to publish it now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like this y'all, what do y'all want to hear the marriage journey? I mean, I'm still on it, it's everything. So I don't know where the book is gonna go, but we'll see.
How long have y'all been married?
6 years, and this is year 7 that we're on now.
Okay, look, we have some newly married people out here that can hear from that 6 year. I'm pretty sure y'all went through some things. Listen, any marriage that's put together by father, you've been through some things. So it's some things that we can read.
Yes. Well, yeah. You right. You show you right. Now, okay, so here's the interesting thing. Like, on one hand, because I was saying, like you just said, because it was done by the father, like, we really don't have many issues. We got a few, but we really don't have many. But on the flip side, the few are big to me. And so I'd be like, well, Lord, so okay, what you want me to do? And stuff. But I God is working on me in regards to, obviously grace and mercy for my husband. Obviously, we're both individuals, and so we are able to communicate. I feel like it's a blessing to be able to talk to him about the things that I'm concerned about, talk to him about the things that I desire, whatever the case is, and we have that communication, and it's open, and I'm not feeling like I'm not being heard or whatever the case is. Now, maybe he might not move on some things as quick as I would like or whatever the case is, but at the same time, we're both humans. He got, obviously, he's a man out here. He, with everything, being a husband on his shoulder, being a husband, being a father, everything like that. So obviously his mind is in Gothen, keeping, everything going, and so as the man, and so, and that's why grace and mercy on my end. Can I be honest with you?
Oh, of course you can.
All right, so one of my main issues is, and sorry, husband, but I mean, there's a reason why I got GSL. Okay, and y'all read the book, so y'all already know that. Like, I mean, your girl obviously has an issue. I feel like, do I need counseling for this? I don't know, but man, listen, I just, things aren't as frequent as I thought it would be in regards to sex, and but I have to, learn to have first for that. My husband can't always be on his back and on my beck and call when I want. Now, you would think, according to the Bible, now, if I go there, like, it do say that his body is mine and mine is his. However, at the same time, I still have to, obviously compromise.
Right.
Because in my mind, I think I could probably go every day. I don't know. I would like to try and see. I would like to try and see, but, but until he, obviously, y'all pray for the gentleman, you know what I'm saying?
We got you. We on top of it.
Because, I mean, but to be honest, though, like, yeah, I mean, that is one. So, yeah, it's a big issue to me, right? The one that was waiting and being like, oh, but see, maybe that's, again, why God had me waiting, right? So, since now, again, there's patience that I have for my husband that maybe somebody wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? There is grace and mercy that I have. And again, I'm sure he has the same for me for whatever, even though he doesn't have many gripes, or he doesn't tell me many gripes that he has with me, but still, I'm sure he has some, because I'm not perfect either,
Right.
so there are some things that I feel like are important to me. That I want. You know what though? Aside from just the sex, though, let me be clear about why I'm saying that. Because
Mm-hmm.
the devil would use anything to break up our kingdom marriages, right? And
That's right.
so if I have a weak moment, right, he could use that, against me to go and be looking or go and be, oh well, I'm not getting it here, so maybe I need to seek it here. You see what I'm saying? If I
Mm-hmm.
be, and I don't intend to be, but what I'm trying to let my husband know is like, help me out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
feel
that's
you.
why I say that. That's why I wanted to
Yeah.
share that part, because again, like I guess maybe because I fantasized marriage and all these different things as a single person and whatnot, and was looking forward to it so much so where I'm like, and so now is the time, yay, and it is, and it's but
Yeah.
it's just not as frequent, and I'm learning to be okay with that. I'm learning to in regards to being okay in regards like patient, being patient and everything. Because again, like I said, I understand that he can't always do when I want to do when I want to do, because he
Mm-hmm.
is a grown man with a wife and child and home and and
Yeah.
I mean and one thing that I will say about him right now, he's embarking. I feel like he's stepping out on faith when it comes to his career, because he's actually going for something that he really enjoys, like the software development and whatnot. And I'm cheering him on because, well, not only because he's been there cheering me on and all of my things, but because I know what it's like to step out on faith and be doing something where you're like, God, man, um, it's not like, because when we met, he was doing like a warehouse job, and obviously that's regular. But now that he's in a training course and all this different type of stuff, he's not necessarily in something as regular as before. And so obviously he's figuring all of that out as a man, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. I think until certain things, from what I'm understanding, me and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm understanding, like until a man feels secure in all things, like his mind ain't necessarily on everything that my mind is on.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to make sure everything is good, as you know, and I
Yeah,
can't be mad
absolutely.
at that. I can't be mad at that at the end of the
Yeah,
day. Like this,
absolutely.
that's why y'all see me in some lights today. You know what I mean? That's why there's a roof over my head. Praise
Absolutely.
God for a man like
Yeah,
that. You know what I mean? I
absolutely.
got grace and mercy on, but y'all just pray for him and pray for me for more frequency.
We got you. I
Because I
told you.
want to look celebrate. We're gonna celebrate the new jobs and whatever else comes from his step of faith.
That's right. We're gonna celebrate for the whole week. You got this.
Yes. Let's see. Let's see. Every day? I don't know. Can it?
Yeah,
Can this happen? I
you
don't
know. Hey, well,
know.
let's just go until we feel like not going no more. It's
Look, we ain't got to worry about it now.
okay. Right. Look, so I'm gonna move myself out the way, and I'm gonna let you inspire the single ladies that's on the line. And listen, keep going. However long, we gonna be right here.
Okay, so what is it, like answering some questions? Oh, she gone. She said, well, I don't know. Is it
Yeah,
um
what you was thinking?
did you want me to like answer some questions or just
Um, no, just come from the dome, like whatever you feel God is leading you to say, to inspire. Look, and see, my sister, she listening. Me and her, we single, we listening.
to the single lady?
See, we listen.
Well, I mean, I
Yes,
know that
just
Miss Amelia,
inspire.
like since she done read the book, and everything like that. To be honest, like there's this. So when I first was writing this book, in my mind, I was like, this is gonna be a guide for how to live successfully single. That I had that in my mind as the tagline and stuff. And again, I ended up realizing that this was more so a memoir of my life and why I was dating the way I was and why I was dealing with men the way I was and things like that. And then ultimately what I needed to change to get to be where I am today in regards to married and all these different type of things. And like I said, I'm the first one to say that no, everything was not perfect nor squeaky clean the way I had imagined and hoped that it would be. But at the same time, again, I feel like if you continue to listen to the Lord, do the things that he's asking you to do, even if it's hard. And I ain't gonna lie, like that masturbation thing was hard for me back in the day. I tell this testimony all the time because on one hand it's laughable, but in that moment it was not. There was one moment where I was struggling with this, like I was very tempted to masturbate, and I had said I wasn't gonna do it and stuff, and so it got to the point where I was so frustrated I ended up crying about it. And and I held on that day and I didn't do it and all that different type of stuff. I ended up like focusing and doing other things, cleaning up my apartment at the time. Like I got these boots that I was drawing on or whatever, and I called them my inspiration boots or inspiration boots is what I called them. And so I did that, and so I did other tasks and focused on other things, and the Lord kept me that day. But here I am sharing that testimony because I understand that it can get hard doing the things that God is asking us to do. But I believe that God honored those moments. So even when I fell off, quote unquote, even when I didn't do everything right again, quote unquote, like it still was I was still where God needed me to be, to ultimately get me to where he wanted me to be in regards to marriage. And so, obviously I feel like there's a lot of things that I shared in here, about my personal journey. I hope that these things encourage you and inspire you to hold on to your faith, hold on to God, and hold on to what he wants to do in your life. I was going to talk to you all about that list that is at the end. And it just kind of was like list of confirmations and advice and different things that either the Lord told me or other people had shared with me to help me in my single life. But one of the things that it was funny to me, but basically what happens is I have this, it says a list of advice and confirmations. And basically I would put a piece of advice and then I would say, wait. I would put another piece of advice and say, wait. And I would do that with every piece of advice in that list. And so every other thing said, wait. Like, honestly, that's the main thing. Wait on the Lord. Like, yeah, I dealt with quote unquote Mr. Right Nows, right? I dealt with guys that, I mean, great guys in their own route. They just wasn't my husband, right? And thanks be to the Lord again for, the type of men that did, I guess respect me enough to not take advantage or respect me enough to not, rape me or do anything else. Again, like I said, I'm a little lady and we was in very tempting situations, and stuff like that, that obviously we had that I had put myself in and we were both in, right? And so I thank God for that as well. But we have to understand that when we are opening up doors like that, right? And we're opening up, putting ourselves in situations like that, it may not be as fortunate as mine ended up being. Like, unfortunately, I know we all know those different stories of, people that are do end up dealing with someone that either takes advantage of them or deal with someone that rapes them or worse. Listen, I don't know how, this is another deep conversation, but this whole human trafficking thing is real. And you know what I mean? Look, all I know is people are being found without, body parts, and all kinds of things, and hear about people every day missing and stuff like that. So try your best not to put yourself in these type of situations, these dangerous situations. At the end of the day, waiting on the Lord, yeah, it can be like, man, why, Lord, and I ain't gonna lie, I ask God these questions all the time. I would look up, I was in my apartment, and be like, Lord, why you want me? Like, nobody else seemed to care about this stuff, especially people our age, with 30s, 20s, 18, whatever. Like, it's like nobody even thinking about you and all this stuff. Like, you got me over here caring about all this. But I see full well why, right? With everything that he has me doing in the season, in regards, yes, the books, but even with the shows, the movies that I want to create, all these different things, again, that I want to do for the kingdom and that I am doing currently for the kingdom. Like, I totally understand now why he took me through the path or the cultivation period. And so at the end of the day, what I want to share with everybody is that, like, whatever Lord is telling you to do, try your best, try your hardest to do it. At the end of the day, you don't know what your faithfulness and what your obedience will leads you to. Like ultimately, y'all, to be honest, here I am talking to y'all today because I was obedient back then. Of a few things, you know what I'm saying? uh, and so you don't know, the next person needs your testimony, the next person needs your story of faithfulness and all these different things to show God and his power. Like he is using us, right, to give others hope and to be a light to others, to show how real he is in this world. And so yeah, I mean, and all testimonies are important. So the falling and getting up, and falling and getting up, falling and getting up, that's important as well as the person that is, steadfast and always faithful. Both conversations are equally important, and both need to be heard. And so yeah, for platforms like this and opportunities to share what the Lord has done for me. And here I am, like I said, sharing every day, with the daily inspiration and all these different things, the talk show, and prayerfully so much more, y'all. I got many more ideas on the horizon, more shows. Like I said, I am working on movies. I make music and whatnot as well. Y'all can just, at justmiraclesims.com, y'all can see all of me, me and my endeavors. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess I really, really take that quote seriously that says that, like, someone is waiting for you to do what God has told you to do. Because again, like, what you do, it matters. What you do does affect the community. So yeah, you just, like, honestly, all right, so here we go. To be honest, even now, I'm kind of, I don't say coaching or whatever, but I am like talking to some other ladies that, have been not just inspired by my story, but then inspired by like what God has done in my life, right? And kind of in some ways coaching them through their cultivation periods and stuff like that. And so it's just, you just never know, again, what that step of faith is going to take you and where it's going to take you, and then how it's going to help the next person. So, like the Bible tells us, don't be weary of well doing. And yes, we can get weary, y'all. We can get tired of it. We can be like, Lord, like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I ask those questions all the time back in the day, like, why am I doing it? Nobody else cares. Like, and all those different questions that I have for the Lord. And now here I am sharing the testimony all the time. And again, I think about it every now and then, like, where would I have been if I didn't? Probably not talking to y'all. Maybe this book wouldn't have been published. I don't know. I know my son probably wouldn't have been here. So yeah, it can get, I know my story is kind of deep or whatever. I mean, I know I can go a lot of different places when it comes to, some of the details and things like that. But yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what I want to share. And I hope that encourages you and inspires you, y'all. Again, if y'all want to hear from me every day and get some inspiration every day, like I don't know if she said it on the show, but we get up, the Lord too, because he meets me there. I get up every morning at 4, and I try my best to have the daily inspiration out by 6 in the morning. And because I want y'all to wake up with some juice. And I've challenged myself to Bible study every day. And the Lord is doing a work, y'all. Because I used to be that person that would be like, oh, I need to pray more, I need Bible study more. And then lo and behold, long story short, it's a long story. But in 2020, and this idea of GSL, God, Sex, and Love, has been on my heart and mind for years as well. The talk show, that's what all it was in the beginning. But now it's much more, as I talked to y'all before about. But I wanted to share about the daily inspiration, because this daily Bible study that I've been doing with the Lord, and it's just been so life-changing. Like, the things that he has revealed to me by taking this time out every day. Like, I mean, and it's crazy how, okay, so if y'all ever do tune into the daily inspiration, right, I'll share my process of how I come to whatever the subject is. And I want to say, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, or maybe the day before. If you go and look at the video that's on YouTube, it's called, my topic was called egg rolls. And I know this is going to sound like, that sounds so random, right? Egg rolls. And I'm like, Lord, why you just tell me egg rolls? And I ended up looking up some Bible verses centered around egg roll. I know y'all probably like, ain't no Bible, ain't egg Bibles, ain't in the Bible. But listen, I'm gonna tell y'all what I did. I went to openbible.info, which is a place to look up verses and whatnot centered around certain topics. I put egg rolls in, and it was the most profound, different profound verses that came up that was just so eye opening for me on that day. And I'm talking about the Lord will speak to you guys. Like, we have to take time. If nothing else I say tonight, take time to get into the Bible for yourself. Yes, people take issue with the Bible. People take issue with preaching and all this different type of stuff. All that stuff is good. You can go here to minister. That's great. But if you don't know the Bible for yourself, then you are doing this disservice to being a believer. Get into the word for yourself, y'all. I say, I did come up with a Bible study journal. I'm not just trying to sell it to y'all. Whether you get my journal or not, please go study your Bible every day. Because like I said, it's been a life-changing experience for me to actually be intentional about doing that. And now I don't even, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'll be like, oh, it's 4 in the morning. But for the most part, like, I get up with the joy to know that, man, I'm gonna spend some time with the Lord. And sometimes he'll wake me up at random times. I have my alarm set for 4, but lately I've been getting in the habit of, if I wake up at some time outside of 4, I'll look that time up and I'll Google, I'll say Bible and then like 115, Bible 115, and verses will come up. And it blows my mind like every day what the Lord gives me. I do this Monday through Saturday. You know, of when I share the daily inspiration on the I go live every day, and then so when I go live, I'm recording the audio version of the podcast. That's what I'm technically doing, but y'all listen, that's what got me doing, finally put the idea of GSL out there, or the idea of God, Sex, and Love. I put it out there by starting off with the daily inspiration, and that step of faith have kicked off everything else, including starting the talk show, including publishing the books, including working on the movies, all that different stuff. All kind of was like a domino by taking that first step of faith to say, Lord, okay, you want me to Bible study every morning? Okay, I'll do that. And on top of that, I'll share it as daily inspiration. That was the domino that knocked everything out for me to even be talking to you now. So be obedient, y'all. Like, and go study, and not be obedient to me. Be obedient to the word and study to show yourself approved. And see what the Lord has to say, because he has a lot to say to y'all. You know what I mean? He has a lot to say to all of us. If you waking up at random times, he's probably trying to tell you something, y'all. Like, even if you look up, I looked up random egg rolls and I got the journal right here. I'm still talking. She ain't came back yet, so I'm gonna talk till she come back. Let me show you with y'all one of these verses that I looked up for egg rolls, because it just came to my mind the other day when I studied egg rolls. Let me see. I know y'all like egg rolls, man. Y'all, you crazy. I'm telling you. Here, you know what? Why? Okay. So here's one of the first verses I came across when I looked up egg rolls, y'all. It was Revelations 1:1. It says, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show to his servants the things that must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John. That was the first person that I had came across when I looked up egg rolls that day. And it just went on and on and on. I mean, I had a dream that I had woke up to as well that day, and all the stuff there was just mission and coincide. And so studying the Bible for yourself will change your life. And then, yes, I do believe it's important for us to fellowship, y'all. I know people take issue with church and stuff like that, but I've been very intentional, at least since last summer. I've tried my best to be more intentional about actually going back to church, because I know since the pandemic and stuff, I was just kind of tuning into things virtually and stuff. But it has truly been a blessing to get back into the doors of the church. Bible believing churches, y'all. Churches that are going to actually teach you what the word has to say, and things like that. You'll know them by their fruit. Okay. That's a whole other subject, girl. I don't know if you want me on here. I'll be on here talking about all kinds of stuff. But what I'm saying is, it's been a life-changing thing from back into the doors of the church. I've been able to get replenished every Sunday, even getting confirmations of things that I end up studying during the week, the preacher be preaching about, and all these different type of things. So two very important things to do. and it's gonna affect you and your family as well. I take my son with. Okay, so here I'll share another thing about marriage. So one of the things, or another issue in my marriage, is that well, it's an issue to me. It's not. I'm not making it a molehill, but I have discussed this with my husband of my desires. But basically, he's not someone that would go to church all the time. And although we have our conversations and everything like that, but I do let him know that I would prefer that we fellowship together as a family and everything like that. I mean, he's a believer and everything, but he just, I don't know if there's some type of church hurt in regards to his family or church hurt in regards to him or whatever the case is. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. For me, right, I feel like it was important as a mom to introduce our son to it. Like I would take him as a baby, but then obviously the pandemic happened in between, like the year after he was born. And so last summer, I felt led to challenge myself to go every Sunday last summer. I called it the Summer Sunday Challenge, and I held myself accountable because I would post pictures every Sunday on Instagram. They were like, Summer Sunday Challenge. I did it again. Summer Sunday Challenge. We going, me and NJ, me and our son and everything. And do y'all know now that our son, he'd be like, it's gotta be the glory. Okay, so the logo of the church, he knows it. So as soon as he see it, he can see a postcard or somewhere, see a sticker somewhere. He'd be like, that's church. Times when we pull up into the church, he's like, yay, we're at church. Sometimes after the first few Sundays of going, when we would get into the car just to go to the store or something, he'd be like, are we going to church? Like, it matters. It really truly matters, y'all. And the future depends on it. I know somebody said that what you don't make a priority today, the next generation will basically it will be less important to the next generation. So if you want your children if you want to train them the way that they should go, and honestly, that's the thing too. I know I left this out of my story, but that I was telling y'all earlier. I mean, obviously it's in the book, but like honestly, I feel like that's why I am here today, because even though there were seeds of discord that was tried to be planted into my life with that, molestation and whatnot that happened in my childhood, because I had those seeds of Christ. And my mom's an evangelist. She put those seeds of the word and whatnot in me at the same time. Just like the Bible says, both of them grew throughout life. But I'm from the Lord. Wow. I ain't never thought about it like this. Well, I have, but I don't know if I said it like this. But they both grew at the same time. But like the Bible say, the wheat was separated from the chaff. So to God be the glory. I don't know if y'all know, but there's something coming for the children in this season. And we gotta protect them at all costs, y'all. And so we need to take this seriously for ourselves, but we also need to do this for the next generation. So even though, yeah, I'm praying for my husband that he go, right, and he start coming with us and stuff, but I gotta take that stand and do that regardless of if he does or not, right? I still honor him in his position, X, Y, Z. But like the words say, like, as a mom, right, and knowing that we have a son and whatnot, we can't both fall short in that area. Because if we do, then our son probably wouldn't even know anything about Jesus or anything, So all of this stuff is important, y'all. What we do matter. I know we like to think, girl, y'all got me on here talking about my pet peeves now. We like to think that, oh, well, what I do don't, like, why does that? It doesn't matter to you what I do. And people feel some kind of way about Christians when we share, or they feel some kind of way about, like, even though the Bible clearly tells us to make disciples and share the gospel. So if anybody knows that part, you should know why Christians are sharing. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But right, so I'm just saying, y'all, it's important for us to be serious about this. Like, get serious about our relationship with God. Serious about like training our children in the way that they should go. Because hey, I'm a living witness that when you do that, it will not depart from them. And look, I feel like I'm on my daily inspiration. Look, that's the juice. That's the truth. Listen, you better come back. I'm gonna take over. I'm about to take over. Y'all, this is my show now. She's like, come back. Well, I don't know. Can you pull up some? I saw some things coming in, but I think I was all teary and all kinds of stuff. So, are there questions or something? Can you show me some questions? I would love to. If anyone has any questions about me, the book, anything that I've shared, I would love to answer. Someone says, I am so glad I had got toxic out of my life before New Year's came. I don't need nobody taking bad things out on my 9-year-old daughter. Amen. Protect her at all costs, Sister Tamara. I know we like to we just and see, here's the thing. Like, oh Lord, okay, well, this just came to my mind. I know when I first kind of started talking about this on my podcast and things like that, and my mom would listen to my daily inspiration, and she even though I talked to her about some of the stuff in high school, but I don't know if she don't remember, I don't know, but basically she just was like, well, you don't have to keep talking about it. And I'm like, no, yes, I do have to keep talking about it, because at the end of the day, sweeping these type of things under the rug is the problem. That's why I feel like GSL and what the God, Sex, and Love channel and all that stuff is important. Like, I know people may be like, oh, that's weird, God, sex, and love, what are you talking about? Well, for me, it's not that weird. God created sex, okay, and it said God is love, right? So to me, it's not that weird. But and honestly, that's what the Lord used to bring me closer to him. He knew I wanted the sex and the love and all that different type of stuff, and he used those things to be like, and so come to me to get what you want and things like that. And so that's where the name comes from and stuff. But these conversations are important for us to have, because the more that we as Christians are sweeping things under the rug and not having having conversations, guess what the world's doing? They are putting a narrative out here that does not include God when it comes to sex and all kinds of things. So yeah, all of us can do something, right, to upbuild God's kingdom. You may not do a talk show, you may not do a podcast, you may not do, something like that, but hey, you can write a blog, you can be out here making posters. I've seen people paint rocks and put images and information on them. Like, there's something you can do for the kingdom, and I believe that it's important that we all do whatever it is that God has created us to do, walk in whatever the purpose that God, I mean, it's all of our purpose to love God and love others. And so, and obviously as Christians, make disciples and things like that. But beyond that, like, how you choose to do that, I guess that's between you and the Lord on your gifts and your talents. I say, yes, use your gifts and talents to do that. And that's all I'm doing, y'all. That's all I'm doing at this point. And I thank God every day for being in this position and being able to share and everything like that. Miss Tamara say I'm giving great ideas. Well, look, they call me an idea generator. Good. I'm glad. That someone is encouraged and inspired. Looking forward to see whatever fruit comes from it. And here's the thing too: don't get discouraged along the way. I'll tell y'all another thing that is different about this particular season for me. And that is the tenacity that God has given me in this season. Because Miracle years ago, probably at this time, I would start something and then I would get discouraged. I would start something else and I would get discouraged. Now I'm just doing and being consistent. It's like, yes, I have the YouTube channel. Yes, I got the the audio when it comes to the podcast and things like that. But for me at this point, the way I look at it is like, it doesn't matter how many people are watching, how many subscribers. Like, yeah, okay, of course, we're trying to reach the goals. Go subscribe to our channel. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, I know there's power in one-to-one. So even, for example, if Miss Tamara was the only person that I reached, to God be the glory. Because at the end of the day, who knows? She might reach 2 more. She might reach 10 more. And then those people might reach 20 more. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, we can't get discouraged. Like, we got to, what I'm feeling in this season is I got to keep going. At the end of the day, the YouTube channel has over 1,000 videos. That, for me, that speaks volume of what God has done. Like, that's the Lord. That's Miracle with the Lord. Like, because Miracle by myself, my other YouTube channel is a clear testimony of how I used to be. I had this back in the day when I was writing this and being like, we need more content out here as Christians. I started just getting on YouTube and just talking about being a single Christian woman. I called that playlist the Hopeful Romantic. I was like, I'm hopeful. The man's out there. I don't know him. He's out there, I'm hopeful. And so and I think I did maybe like 11 videos, 12, 11 or 12 videos. And I stopped because I got discouraged. And I just was like, nobody's watching. Nobody's talking to me. Man. And then now, years later, the concept has expanded from being the hopeful romantic single girls just talking about being a Christian, and did like 12 videos to 1,000 videos on that channel has over 1,000 videos. And that's just a testament of the Lord. Like, I'm not saying that the Lord wasn't with me then, but he's put something in me now to be like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if I don't ever see the fruit. Now, he's allowed me to see some fruit, and I'm grateful for it because it keeps me motivated. But even if I don't see the fruit, right? Even if the people that tunes into me are in 2034 or something, you know what I mean? Again, like, I think that's what matters at the end of the day. Like, whoever it's for. Like, don't worry about the amount of people. Don't worry about if people are liking your post, whatever you end up doing when it comes to you and your purpose, right? Just don't get discouraged. Don't give up. Wait on the Lord. Let him lead you and guide you. And you're going to see, I mean, you're going to see God moving in your life and things like that. Again, I just don't want y'all to get discouraged about like fruit, right? Because again, I guess I keep saying that, but I mean, yeah. Back in the day, I did get discouraged, being like, "Oh, nobody's listening, nobody's saying anything." But I mean, I know even now, like, I'll just do random posts on Amen. She says I'm doing it all for the Father. Like, yeah, the audience of one is really the main thing. And oh man, wow. Today I was listening to another YouTuber, and I know she was saying that God is pleased, with us and everything like that. Those that are being faithful and those that are being obedient and whatnot. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Yes, it's gonna reach who it needs to reach. I'll put it like that. Whoever it is, and it doesn't matter how many it is. So yeah, that's something that the Lord has done in me in this particular season, and that's why y'all see me here talking today, because one step of faith. Being like, I'm going to get up and do daily inspiration. Fine. I'm going to finally put God, sex, and love out. Something that's been in my heart and mind for years. And then, yep, here we are. He's like, girl, I had to come on back. Look, she doing a tap dance. It's Kane.
Listen, you was getting into it. I said I had to sit back and listen. You were dropping some nuggets. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
look, y'all got me crying and everything. Lord, I was like, wait a minute.
Ain't got something else when you trying to inspire somebody else and he dropped an eye opening moment for you in the middle of it. Like, ooh, wait a minute. That just took me back.
Right.
So everything that we talked about, I'm sorry, what you say?
No, I was just saying, yeah, Lord, you did that. That's it.
Yeah, he did. I saw it. Everything that we as the cultivating period, a single Christian's journey can be found in her book. Make sure I got it in the camera. Yes, it can be found in the book. But let us know for those that want to reach out and get the book, how can they go about doing that?
Yes, ma'am. Well, the book is available on Amazon. I need to order some copies so I can be like, oh, I'll sign some copies. But I don't have anything on hand but my little display right here. So, but yeah, you guys can get the book off of Amazon. That alongside, the Bible study journal is on there. I got a coloring book that's on there, as well as my first children's book is on there as well. Prayerfully, if Lord's will, more children's books to come. And all right, y'all got me. I got to get this married content together. We're going to see what the Lord do. I don't know what it's going to be, but we're going to see. Got to get some marriage content together.
You never know.
But yeah, it's
Listen, you
available on
never
Amazon.
know here at Bless the Author. We yeah, we are a sucker for cameos, so we gonna be looking.
Oh,
We gonna be looking for the next book because
oh,
we're a sucker for cameos.
oh. Sound hey.
Yes, we love us a cameo. So listen, we're
I
not
really
going to
appreciate this
hold you
opportunity.
any longer.
Oh,
We're gonna have to get together and do some more things together. Um, Whatever God leads us to do. Like I said, I am getting ready to start when sisters gather, where we're going to be raw and talk about the day-to-day things that we go through as Christian single women,
mhm.
married women, mental health, just all in general. So um, yeah, I'll stay in contact. I'll stay in contact, and not only for work purposes, just to see how you're doing on day to day, just to, you know, check up on you and see what you got going on. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Listen, I already invited her to come on to the GSL talk show, so
Yes, she has. So listen, y'all look for that. Y'all look for that. We're gonna make some shape. We're gonna go over GSL. See what they go.
hey.
These two shall not. These two shall not be together. Neither one of them know when too much is too much. It's
God bless
good.
you, Sister Reese.
Okay, so I believe if somebody left. It's all good. So yeah, who we sending this book to?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I know Miss Reese said she was gonna get it, but I mean, I don't know if you want to bless her with it or not. I don't know who else. Oh, this hello. Thank you for tuning in, Miss Glentina. Did I say it correct? I hope so.
Yes, 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 yes. That's I.
Look, put their name
I was
on the
listening to
spin
something.
wheel, or put their names in
Put it there. Was
a jar and
it's shake up?
shake it up.
It's only two of them on here. We'll give it to Miss Glentina. Prophet Glentina is married, so she's already been through her cultivating moments. So we'll give it to my sister. So while she's in her cultivating moment, help her along if that's okay.
Yes, makes sense. Sounds good.
Okay. So Tamara, look for your book. You know, I'm slow, but I'm for sure. So you'll be getting it. I love mine.
I hope it bless you, sister. Hope you're encouraged and inspired.
Yes, I was. I really was. And so we're not going to hold you no further. Queens with Ambition, thank you for your time. We thank you for your yes. And it was a pleasure meeting you, reading your book, and being inspired by you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for sharing platform.
No problem, no problem. This is God's platform. And so he said, bring on his daughters. I'm going to bring on his so until we meet again, until next time, you be blessed. We love you here at Queens with Ambition. And maybe we'll see you again.
Thank you.
You be blessed, sister.
Yes, ma'am. You
All right, y'all. That is a wrap for our monthly Bless the Author session. I thank you all for joining on. Even though the days have changed. The day hasn't changed, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. The week has changed, and I thank you all for still being faithful, coming on, hearing what your girl has to say and what these authors has to say or what they've been through and getting to know them. Y'all go reach out to Miracle Sims. She is dope. I from time to time tap into her morning inspirational juice. And it's really interesting. Y'all go check her out at Miracle Sims. Um, she is faithful with every morning. Sometimes I'll be up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I forget to log out of Facebook, and I can hear the bing, bing, bing. And when I look, and I said, let me tap in and see. And I love the oh, my internet acting up now. I done upgrade this internet. Don't start tripping now. I love her rawness, her realness, and she just give us the juice. So y'all go check her out. We made some changes. So this is to those future bless the author, bless the author guests. We're only going to do your inspirational book that is your testimony book, or if it's not quite your testimony, the last book you've written, we're only doing that book. Like me running a ministry in itself, bless the author. Y'all, tomorrow we also have our monthly session, our monthly inspirational session, where we have Capricia Hill. She was on here. I don't know if she's still on here. I'm sorry, Harris, coming on to give us the word that inspire us to get up and keep doing and not to look at what our situation is. I'm saying this wrong, y'all, but y'all just flow with me. Y'all know how I am. And not to look at what situation that we're sitting in. So tomorrow, inside of our Queens with Ambition ministry group, we will be live at 7 o'clock, where my sister is going to bring the word. Y'all listen. Y'all be there to support. She's nervous. She trying to give me every excuse, but she know I am not going for it. So y'all be there to support her and hear what God has to say through her. And if even if it stings, even if it stings, say ouch. If you can't, I don't know if it was a minister or a pastor, but I heard someone was preaching and she said, if you can't say amen, just say ouch and keep it moving. So I love y'all. Um, Next time I'm gonna have everything that I want to say written down because I'm feeling like that I'm leaving out something. But y'all know, bless the author will be back next month. Um, Same time and same place. So we are, yeah, tomorrow at 7. Um, yes, and Miss Glenn, Prophetess Glentina, how are you doing? What have you been, dog? I gotta inbox you to see how you're doing. I love you too, Sugar Bear. I love you too. Y'all, y'all know I can get on here and go to talking, but I love y'all. We're gonna go in tomorrow night. Yes, we're gonna go in and we're gonna make my sister feel comfortable so she can bring forth the word of the Lord. And listen, Prophet and her right, and baby don't play no games. God speaks to her and he is speaking to her heavy. Me and her be in conversation, and some of the things she is telling me that God is speaking and showing her in her dreams, I am at awe. So whatever God is leading her to say on tomorrow, I believe in my heart you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. I'm gonna reach out to her and see if she want to connect tonight and pray. Prophetess Glentina, if she wants to pray, are you available to pray with us? Yes, don't miss it. Yes, ma'am, she does. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna reach out to her in a few to see. But everybody that has to bring forth God word, it's not easy, especially when you're bringing forth the true. Um. Okay. No problem. Especially when you're bringing forth um the true word of God, because sometimes God is not always telling us we're going to get that big house, we're going to get that car we prayed for. Don't I always tell you guys those are monetary gifts. Those are gifts. Those are not blessings. The things of the Lord is blessings. It's his blessings. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. But those things, the house, the car, all those things come from doing what God has called you to do. And he knows these are the things that we want and need. So he gifts us with these things. So his gifts are his fruits of the spirit. Those are your blessings. I'm sorry. The blessings are his fruits of the spirit. And everything else is gifts. I keep trying to tell y'all that. Y'all don't want to, y'all know. And I told y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all this one more time. It came up it came up, so I'm gonna say it one more time. I've been telling y'all this, I think, since last year, the end of year before last. Begin to stock your houses up. It is coming to that time where a phantom is going to hit this land. Be prepared, God's people. Be prepared. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, you can take me as whatever you want. But when it happened, don't say, dang, I should have listened to her. Because you feel however you feel about me. It is what it is. Stock your house up. Stock your house up with medicine. Stock your house up with food. Stock your house up with toiletry. Stock your house up with everything that you need to survive on day to day. Soap, paper towels, everything that you need. Yes, prophetess, yes. First seek the kingdom of God, and everything else will follow. Absolutely. Yes. I have to get with prophets. I'll talk to you. Yeah, but y'all, we're not going to go into I ain't gonna start preaching to y'all on here, but y'all know that I would. But yeah, y'all obey the words of the Lord. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. But God is going to take care of his people. But do your part. Listen, God is going to take care of us, and God's going to always make sure we're good. But we have to do our part. Like, this is not a one-way street. And I tell y'all this all the time. It's not a one-way street. God does what he do, and we have to do what he tells us to do in order to get the rest of what he has, that what the rest of what he's going to do. He's not just gonna keep spoon feeding us. He's not gonna keep spoon feeding us. Works without faith is dead. Faith without works is dead. However you wanna say it, it's not dead. It works. It works. So yes, you need to tap in more. You need to tap in more with us. Listen, Queens with Ambition Bless the Author is not trying to take anyone away from whatever ministry they attend, whatever place they call home. That is not what I'm here for. What Queens with Ambition is here for is to help you, is to um push you into what God has called you to do. He is to uplift you. It's to dig into those things that your church ain't digging into. To dig into them things that your pastor ain't digging into. To help you bring that out. to go forth and what he is calling you to go forth in. That's what we're here for. We're not here to take you away from whomever God has called you to sit under, or whoever you choose to sit under, because you don't want to come out of the things that is hindering you from going forth in God. I don't know what made me say that, but hey, I'm saying what I yeah. Absolutely, we all need help. We all need help. Look, I have to sit under somebody to get guidance and get things pulled from out of me and delivered from out of me. Like I don't have it all together. I definitely don't have it all together. So we all, so whoever I feel connected to, I go because I know that they're going to help me get through whatever it is I need help getting through. Some of us, we don't want to grow, and we don't want to grow up in God. We want to stay on that milk, and we want to stay on that baby food, and we don't want to be on meat, and we don't want to be walking on our own. We just want to be babies. Yes, ma'am. We just want to be baby. And so we say stupid stuff like, ain't nobody taking me from my ministry. And don't send me nothing because my ministry is my ministry. If you don't got that carnal thinking, and that's what's wrong with us now. That's exactly what's wrong with us. Nobody is coming to try to take you away from nowhere. Or maybe somebody should be trying to take you away from there and they'll drag you out of that carnal thinking. Like, come on. Ugh. It's it's crazy for real. Like it's somebody trying to inspire you, trying to lift you up. They see the hurt that you're going through. They see the cycles that you're going through. And here comes help. Because we know God sent somebody to help me. God sent somebody. I need help. God, what should I do? God, which way should I go? And hey, come help. Hey, come help. Ain't nobody gonna take me from my ministry. Uh-uh. What? Ain't nobody trying to take you from your ministry. You asked for help. God is sending help. And now here you go with your thinking, stinking thinking, carnal thinking. Somebody trying to take you away from your church. Man, get out of here. Okay, y'all, listen. Thank y'all. Listen, come on, like be for real. Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Like for real. Cause the church probably don't even want you there. Oops. 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 Listen. I've been sitting in this, and God has really been showing me things with people. A lot of people mean well. A lot of people mean absolutely well. But some people have their own problems, their own situations that they have to go through. So they can't, deal with what you got going on or help you deal with what you got going on. And some it's not even called to help you deal with what you got going on, but they'll try. So what I have learned that I just got to tie on my sneakers and go before God because I want to be one of the ones that can help pull people up, that can help them out of the situations that I'm going through. And being that everywhere I turn, I don't know if God just don't allow them to help me or allow them to help me through just so much. And then the rest, I have to go to Him to get Him to navigate me through. I'm not sure, but what I know is this: where I'm coming from, I don't want to see nobody else there. The way I'm coming out of it, I don't want nobody else to have to go through that. So I'm gonna go to God and allow Him to navigate me through this, and also teach me as we're navigating how not to go back and how to navigate others to go through and not go back. So that's Queens with Ambition. And y'all know this is Best the Author, so I wasn't even supposed to go that way, but we let Holy Spirit have His way at all times. So I'm not going to hold y'all further. We are going to get back to the things of God. We're Queens with Ambition. I said it before and I said it again. Um, we are going to get back. Woo! Thank you. We are going to get back. We're going to start back on our motivational Mondays. And good night. We're gonna get back on our motivational Mondays. And we're gonna do Fridays as well. I don't know what it's gonna be called. But we was doing Mondays and Fridays. I believe that's what we was doing. I wanna throw in a hump day and a hump day message as well. And the prayer line is going to start back next month. I think next month. My daughter got basketball, so my days had to switch. So not next month, but I think next month, February. Let me see. I think she'll be done at the end of February. So I believe like March we should start back with the prayer line. I don't know y'all, but we're gonna get it back together. Queens with Ambition is going up, as I have always said. We have some other things coming as well, but I have to first focus on what I was told to do in the beginning. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk y'all head off no more. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to this Bless the Author. I see you guys tomorrow with our motivational monthly session, which is every third Saturday at 7 o'clock. We was doing it via Zoom, but now we're just going to do it inside of the Queens with Ambition Bless the Author group. And then once the group good night, once the group does what God is going to allow it to do, then we'll go back to the Zoom. Then we'll go back to the Zoom. But until then, you guys be blessed. I see you all on tomorrow. Those that can tune in. If not, we understand. I'll be here Monday. I want to say 11, 12 o'clock, but I'll make a flyer and I will post it between tomorrow and Sunday. I'll have the flyer out on what time I'm going to be here with the motivational Monday. It's not going to be long because I do work on Mondays. So um yeah, so I'm gonna sit down and get it together tonight, and I'll have a fly out for you for everybody to know when we'll be back, and just pray my consistency as I pray for you and whatever you have your struggles are. Until next time, y'all. I love y'all. Y'all be blessed. Oh yeah, yeah. One more thing before I go. Y'all tell me how y'all like my intro. I'm gonna add some more stuff to it. I'm gonna do a couple more things to it. Y'all tell me like is the blue background too much? Is the hot pink words too much? I'm gonna do a out. I'm gonna do one for the end of the show as well. But I just did that today. So yeah, y'all give me y'all feedback and tell me what y'all think before I go. I'm trying to go to the comments. Oh yeah, there we go. Nobody's there. Everybody going. Okay.